It's that time of year in Southie. Local leaders gearing up for the St. Patrick's Day spotlight.
We need those extra assets to keep an eye on everybody.
State Senator Nick Collins represents South Boston, the Seaport, and parts of Dorchester. The Democrat making headlines lately about parade safety and property taxes.
And we did this all without raising taxes. That's smart policy.
This morning, Senator Collins goes on the record about his disagreements with Mayor Wu, policy priorities, and his political future.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Beacon Hill to Capitol Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, March 15th. I'm Ed Harding.
And I'm Charmin Sacchetti, and joining us at the table is Massachusetts State Senator Nick Collins. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And
Good
happy
morning.
St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy to get back to
Do you wish
today.
happy St. Patrick's Day today, or do you wait for a couple of days before you actually do it on St. Patrick's Day?
No, we're already in the spirit.
We're always in the spirit. And
Yeah,
speaking
indeed.
of that, there will be the St. Patrick's Day parade is this morning. So there's increased security, as there would be for the St. Patrick's Day parade in South Boston. Police have said there are no credible threats. Let's get that out right at the top. But this comes after a violent week. The Michigan synagogue attack, Old Dominion University shooting in Virginia, and an ISIS-inspired plot in New York City. So what do you want people to know as they head out for the parade?
Well, that they should enjoy themselves, and as the police commissioner said, if they see something, say something. We're going to have more resources and assets than we've had in quite some time. It's the 250th anniversary, technically, of the first St. Patrick's Day parade.
Yeah.
Under a free society.
Yeah.
And we want people to enjoy themselves, but be on alert. It's a big crowd. It's the largest public event in the city.
These are soft, air quotes, soft targets. In other words, they're stretched out. I mean, that creates a greater concern because you have numbers of people spread out in wide areas.
Well, I think we have the resources, in collaboration with cities and towns across Greater Boston, along with the state police, the MBTA police, and a great plan. The organizers did a really good job.
We talk about the parade route, just the parade route is different this year. Instead of starting at the Broadway T-stop in South Boston, it will end there. Why?
Well, it's not the first time. They did rotate for many years, but this particular year, we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of the March to Dorchester Heights, which came through Andrew Square and up to Telegraph Hill, and when Henry Knox and the militia brought the cannons to tell the British it's time to go. That's why we're doing it this year.
All right, let's change gears here a little bit. Homeowners in Boston, they saw a 13% residential property tax hike. You were one of the state senators that blocked Mayor Wu's plan to move more of the city's property tax burden onto commercial properties. Tell us about your solution to this problem, because it seems like this might be a problem that keeps on happening.
Well, it doesn't have to, and I think, when you have a plan that was put forward like it was 21 years ago by the late Mayor Menino, and it failed, he decided to stop
he tried
it for 1 year.
Similar, yeah.
But what they found out was it wasn't gaining the commercial revenue it thought it would. It croaked small businesses, and it put more burden on the residential taxpayers. In this case, we have $552 million in surplus funds. If you recall, in 2022, when the state brought in more revenue than we needed, we issued rebates back to taxpayers. And so we did pass legislation in the Senate that would authorize that for cities and towns, the use of surplus funds, in the case of Boston, significant reserves, to issue rebates to offset those tax increases that came about by the city, who's the only party that can raise municipal property taxes in the city of Boston. We also passed legislation that would mitigate increases in those first two quarter bills that are basically double taxes tied to the fiscal year, as well as increasing the senior property tax exemption and the personal property tax exemption. So we did put forth and pass nearly unanimous 37-1 substantial property tax relief. And I think what we do know is we have to take a look at the spending. We had $1 billion increase in the city's budget. We know we got a lot of one-time federal funds. That was a large portion of that. But we know that the previous mayor too, who looked at this, decided to make fiscal changes in order to right the ship. We also know we have our lowest growth numbers in a decade. New growth is what carried the city for a long time. That left the burden manageable on residential property owners. So we have a way forward here. These proposals are passed in the Senate and are in the House for final approval, and we hope they pass. With spring coming upon us, these deadlines around exemptions are April 1st.
I have a question. You know, a lot of people sort of wonder this. Why should the State House have any say over what Boston gets to do?
Well, when it comes to increasing taxes and the tax makeup, that's in the state law. And, you know,
Do you think it should be?
In the 1800s, well, it is everywhere else. And if you saw what took place in New York, the same effort was made by Mayor Mondami, and it was also rejected by the legislature. So yeah, that's where taxes are determined at the state level. And I think that, you know, we made a prudent decision because when we asked for data that wasn't shared, finally when it was released, we saw that it didn't add up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's your given that? What is the relationship with the mayor after the property tax disagreement?
Well, we're in a debate, and we are putting forth legislation to try to fix another inequity in the city of Boston, and it's partly in other parts of the state as well, which is the vertical inequity going on with assessments. So you see in middle-class neighborhoods like Dorchester, Roxbury, and Mattapan, their home value assessments going up 10% year over year up to the max value. And we see other neighborhoods like Beacon Hill and Back Bay that are at 50%, which means they're getting a major tax cut, the wealthiest in the city. Mm-hmm. And so that has to change.
Let's talk about politics, because a growing number of challengers are eyeing state Senate seats this year, including yours. And why do you deserve another term on Beacon Hill? Why, in your opinion, do you deserve another term on Beacon Hill?
Well, I think myself and my team have been effective in delivering resources to our district, as well as delivering policy that is reflective of the values of the district. We have some unfinished business, like the electrification of the commuter rail, the Fairmont line. We have some unfinished business with respect to Mass and Cass, and also with respect to our financial position here in the Commonwealth. I think we've done a great job as a state managing our finances. We have the largest rainy day fund we've had in my entire career, and our strongest bond rating. Mm-hmm. And we've done that by prudent decision making.
Mm-hmm. Let's ask you, where do you stand on the push to audit the legislature? You've seen the state auditor trying to get that done. Legislative leaders have pushed back. They say there's a separation of powers issue. Where do you stand on that?
Well, it is before the SJC, and we know they're going to make a determination on that. You know, we have all of our bills online. We have all of our meetings online. We have all of our debates online.
Well, public records, I think, is before the SJC.
Right.
Yeah.
So the audit issue is before the SJC.
Yeah.
But the spending is online. We do an audit every year with a professional accounting firm that does that for Senate spending, and all of our spending is online, open checkbook, along with all the wages of employees. So, you know, the Senate is incredibly transparent. And a number of years ago, we banned the use of the NDAs, which I think is at the core of the audit debate.
Where do you stand on her new push to open up the governor's office, the legislature, to the public records laws?
Well, we did just recently discharge a proposal that is similar to that in nature out of the committee I co-chair, the State Administration and Regulatory Oversight, to open those up.
So last week, Boston's Mayor Michelle Wu announced a new funding partnership to help immigrants. Boston taxpayers would kick in more than $1 million, while 3 philanthropic groups would contribute more than $3 million. It comes weeks after the mayor signed an executive order banning federal agents from using city property for immigration enforcement. What is your stance on those steps? You know, I was thinking in my head, do you agree? I'm not going to ask you if you agree. What is your stance on those steps?
Well, I do think it's always better when we're sharing the financial burden, no matter what that is, when there's a partnership, public-private partnership, or as a state and city partnership. And so I think how we fund things like that is important. You know, the state's made a significant commitment in legal defense support in our budget last year, and I think we're going to be looking at that again this year. So, you know, we have a really important immigrant community here in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. You know, if you take the Haitian community for just one example, we rely heavily on their skills and services within the healthcare industry, and it would be devastating to lose them. That's why we supported increase in funding for the Attorney General to be able to take on some of these challenges and cases. She won an important case at the district level to extend TPS, as well as an appeal recently to ensure that our Haitian American neighbors in Massachusetts can remain here legally as they are now. And we know there's no justification for that, to remove TPS status. If anybody who knows the situation in Haiti knows it's really dire.
Right.
And since 2021, with the assassination of the president, it's been impossible to go back.
In your opinion, is there justification for ICE agents to wear masks?
Well, I don't think anybody should be wearing masks, but I know that's a debate that has got a lot of people on different sides of that. I think what we do know is we have to have our law enforcement here at the state and local level do their job, not others' jobs.
State Senator Nick Collins is in the chair. Our conversation continues after the break. Stay with us.